So here it is, the ending of an era. 3 years of my blood, sweat, and tears went into this studio, into this room, building it with my own hands, doing the electrical, the drywall, the flooring, everything minus building the structure itself. I did it. I even went as far as digging the trench for the electrical from the house by hand. So why am I selling the thing in the world that I love the most? What's up everybody? I'm the Derek Frank. If you want to see more videos on home studios, gear reviews, and backstage access tour reports, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell icon too so you get notified when I put out these videos. So I'd like to welcome everybody to my new home studio. Now some things are still very similar. Of course, my desk that I built, which I have videos posted down in the description below. My touchscreen, also have the video of how I made that below. But I'm now inside my house in the basement. Now I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and basements are pretty rare, but we were lucky where we have a walkout basement. So a couple sides are surrounded by dirt, and then it walks out into the backyard. Now, let's get to the whys of why I moved out of my studio space. It's no mystery that my studio shed that I built was one of my most prized possessions. I love that space and I'm going to miss it so much. So why did I move inside the house again? Well, number one reason is eventually my wife and I want to sell our house and move into something different, something that fits us a little bit better in the Nashville area still. So you might say, well, man, you got that great studio in the back / man cave or she shed, whatever you want to use it for, wouldn't that add value to the house? And while I would say yes, we are at the top of the comps for our neighborhood, which basically means with or without my studio back there, we're not going to get any more money. And since I had it built with runners on it and all you have to do is bring in a forklift and put it on a truck to move it, it's really easy for me to sell it and get that cash out, and hopefully someone else can use the studio as something that brings them a lot of inspiration like it did for me. Another reason why I moved my studio inside was that the biggest downfall out there was the noise. It was not soundproof, and even though I was working on that to eventually be soundproof or more soundproof, at the state it was in, it was really hard where we live. We are right in the runway of the Nashville airport, so anytime a plane would fly over, I would hear it. Also, the biggest mistake I made was putting a metal roof on it, where it's efficient and it was cheaper. When it rains, it's almost unusable. Now, I'm not always doing tracking or things where I need to record audio, but even working in there when you have that kind of noise is really difficult. Also, like neighbors and lawnmowers and things like that were pretty hard to deal with sometimes. Inside the house though, since I'm in the basement and our house is brick, I don't have hardly any noise coming through. The only noise I really hear is if somebody's walking around upstairs, the dogs bark or something like that. But that's, pretty normal home studio stuff. Also, this room is so much better treated. I was able to put my panels up, and with the way that it sits and the room design and having better insulation in here, sound was also my biggest fear in here because I have my studio built outside with 9.5 foot ceilings, where in the basement it's only 7 foot. And if you know anything about recording, space is a big thing. And with recording drums especially, you want to have some more clearance. So what I did was I built a cloud over my drum set, and I actually made the area where the drums are really dead sounding instead of what I normally like, and that's that big room sound. Now, I can pull some things away and I can still get that ambiance, but it was really cool to see what my microphones could do. So as I mentioned, with the drums, I actually have a great sound because I got these panels over the windows and then a couple of the old panels that I had made in the outside studio, almost as bass traps, and then another window covering panel. But then I made this panel right here as a cloud, which looks great, and it makes the drums sound really dead. So I'm getting a really true microphone sound over here, and it's a lot easier to track and mix and edit the sounds. Another thing I love about being back inside the house is how much space I gained in here. A huge reason for moving in here was that I was just running out of space out there. You know, it was a 12 by 24 building, whereas this basement gives me about 130 square feet more than what I had. So I kept getting more stuff, I kept doing more things, and I just didn't have the space for it. You get 3 people in there and it was really, really tight quarters. Versus down here, you can have several people, you can move around, it's easy to deal with. Another reason for bringing the studio back inside was that it takes a lot more power to run a separate structure. So we were spending a couple $100s a month extra on energy bills alone, when I can bring it in here, and I completely eliminated that. So within the first month of bringing everything inside, our bills dropped a few $100s, which was pretty cool, and it helps with the process of eventually getting rid of this house to get a new house. Now, we were lucky when we bought this house that we got it 9 years ago as the Nashville boom was starting. But even though we got it for a great price and we're gonna get a good profit whenever we decide to sell, that means that everything else in Nashville is more expensive. So to find something that we like, it's really gonna even out in the wash for our profit. If anything, it might be quite a bit more expensive still and raise our mortgage a little bit. But that's just something that we're gonna have to deal with, being in an area that is an up and coming town and a boom town that everybody wants to be in. I think the final thing that really sold me on moving back into the house was the bathroom. Now I don't have to walk outside into the house, upstairs to go to the bathroom. I'm just in the house, you know, we have the bathroom right here. Well, the studio didn't have a bathroom, and there really wasn't a way that I could put one in affordably, and it would have cost tens of thousands of dollars to run all of the plumbing back into the house from there, and it just didn't make sense for us. So having that a little bit more convenient, I dealt with it just fine out there, but it is nice to have that access a little bit closer, especially if it's raining or snowing or things like that. So thank you guys for checking out my new studio space. Again, I still have a lot of mixed emotions. It took me almost 3 weeks of moving my stuff out of the old space into the new space. And honestly, I will admit, I had a few mental breakdowns and just anxiety attacks over the thought of all the work that I had to do and leaving the space that I love so much. That space did so much for me, and I can't say that enough. And I never thought that a space or an area or a studio would mean that much to me and affect how I want to continue my career, but it really did, and it gave me a lot of vision as to what I want next and what I want to do next for my career. Thank you guys again for watching, and stay tuned for more gear reviews, more backstage reports, more stuff in the studio, and if there's stuff that you want me to talk about or you want me to cover, let me know in the comments section. I love answering questions. I love seeing your comments, so make sure you shoot them down below. Also, make sure to check out all my other socials, Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. There's always something going on. We'll see you again soon.